Hi, welcome to this week's edition of the Academy. We're going to continue our look into Sun Tzu's Chapter 1, and we're going to cover two concepts. One is he has one sentence on, one verse on, and then he has a concept that he spends several verses on, and I want to talk about these. The first one, very, very short, is according as circumstances are favorable, one should modify one's plans. This, I think, is just a good nugget. The old axiom, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. You need to be able to have a plan that is flexible. You have to have backup plans. You need to have contingencies. And don't be afraid to, as things change, modify your plan, even abandon part of it. Because if you suddenly are seeing yourself doing well in a certain area you didn't expect, change plans, take advantage of that. Again, practicing will help you identify when those occur and how you can best, with your existing army, capitalize on those particular favorable instances. Okay? All right. Now, my favorite verse in this entire first chapter is one a video I've been wanting to do and just haven't figured out the best way to do it. So I'm going to try to cover it here. In verse 18 of chapter 1, he says, all warfare is based on deception. Okay. And I think it's very true. You'll see that all throughout history. And you might wonder, well, how does that translate to the tabletop? We don't put pretend units on the board. We generally, especially in friendly games, reveal our list to our opponent. So how can you do that? Let's look at the rest of what he has to say about deception. And let's see what works and what doesn't in tabletop. Okay. So, to read on here. Hence, when able to attack, we must seem unable. When using our forces, we must seem inactive. When we are near, we must make the enemy believe we are far away. And when we're far away, we must make him believe we are near. Okay, that doesn't really seem like it makes a lot of sense for a tabletop situation. And in a lot of ways it doesn't. This is all the stuff leading up to the battle. But there are elements that actually do fit in well to the tabletop. When you have a situation where one of your units is actively pursuing an objective, you have to make it look like it's not. That might not be easy, but let's use an example with Eternal War missions, okay, where the objectives have to be secured by the end of the game. You can you have a unit that's kind of stay inconspicuous and slowly making their way toward that objective so that they'll be in position when needed to pounce on it. So during the game, you want to make it look like that unit's really inactive, not doing much, when in fact you're doing a lot with it. When it's not doing much, for example, if there's a unit that doesn't have objectives secured, there's absolutely no way that unit can steal an objective from your opponent. You want to make him look like he's extremely important, extremely active, extremely dangerous. So you want to make him start threatening the opponent every chance you get. Make it an annoyance so it looks like it's more dangerous than it is. It looks like it's more active, more of something that he needs to deal with than it really is. Trying to change the direction of your opponent's focus is what you're doing there. Okay? Now, of course, the whole far away, being near, being far away, that's very hard to do. That's all outside the scope of a actual tabletop game. So, then to read on from there, hold out baits to entice the enemy, feign disorder and crush him. Now, there are some commentators look at this and try to explain Sun Tzu here. They seem to be twisting his words a little bit. So let's just take him at face value. Hold out baits to entice the enemy. Puts a unit out there, puts something out there in front of the enemy to make them want to go after it. It could be a hole in your arm, a gap between your two forces. It could be a complete exposed, flank. It could be a weak unit that looks like it's a strong objective or something that's important. You want to make the opponent draw him towards something of your choice, not his choice. So again, it's subtle. You may have to do some a quick analysis of what your opponent thinks is important or isn't. But that's what you're trying to do there. Now, you can also feign disorder, even on a tabletop. We're not talking about failing morale checks all over the place and having your guys fall back. Try not to be obvious about how you're actually pursuing your objectives. Do small moves that don't appear to be coordinated, but are actually trying to seek the same supporting objectives. If he doesn't understand, if the opponent doesn't understand what you're trying to do, he won't easily be able to thwart it. Okay. And then the final one, the way it says, is "and crush him." And this is important. The sentence is "feign disorder and crush him." So what you're doing in Sun Tzu's concept here is you are making it very difficult for the opponent to understand what you're trying to do, so that he is not pursuing the one thing that would probably just foil your plans. And thinking he's in stronger footing than you, he'll be a little more careless. And then, of course, you're in complete control of your plan, as long as the deception holds. You're able to apply your responses to his attempts much more cleanly, and you'll be able to actually crush him in that. In a medieval type of warfare, this is actually a little easier to do than it is in some of the tabletop sci-fi areas. The more ranged shooting you have, the less this seems to apply. But there's still the ability to feign disorder, across the board. Classic examples is Greek Battle of Marathon. Whether intentional or not, the Greek center was a relatively weak center. It was thinner, and it basically collapsed and retreated in order. It didn't fall back en route. It retreated in order under the pressure of the Persians, which followed it in, and the two flanks of the Greek army, which were deeper, held the ground, and essentially created, by virtue of this falling center line, an envelopment situation, and that crushed the Persians and made them fall back to the sea, basically. So it can be done, and you can do this using that same concept. Feign disorder, give in certain areas so that you get positional advantage. That's just one example. So I think what I want to do is I want to pause here, and we'll pick it up in the next video. Again, I want to keep these short because there's a lot in each of these sentences. Again, that's why I recommend you get a copy of Sun Tzu. It should be downloadable for free. It's in public domain. Even some of the commentaries are. And take a look at what he says. Again, they're very short statements. Don't read too much into them. Just take them at face value and try to apply them to your own gaming. Okay? So yeah, I'll go ahead and I think I'll put a link to some of these the places I've found Sun Tzu downloadable for free. Again, public domain, so it's not like you're breaking copyrights or anything. So let me know what you think. We'll continue in the next video with more in Chapter 1, dealing with deception of various kinds. Alright, thanks for sticking with me. Share, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.